Jai Sai Ram. Story of Srinivasa Padmavati marriage. This fascinating story behind the marriage of Lord Sri Venkateshwara, also called as Lord Srinivasa, with goddess Padmavati is narrated below. The rishis, headed by Kashyapa, began to perform a sacrifice on the banks of the river Ganges. Sage Narada visited them and asked them why they were performing the sacrifice and who would be pleased by it. Not being able to answer the question, the rishis approached sage Brihu. To reach a solution after a direct ascertainment of reality, sage Brihu first went to Satyaloka, the abode of Lord Brahma. At Satyaloka, he found Lord Brahma reciting the 4 Vedas in praise of Lord Narayana with each of his 4 heads and attended upon by Saraswati. Lord Brahma did not notice of Brihu offering obeisance. Concluding that Lord Brahma was unfit for worship, Brihu left Satyaloka for Kailasa, the abode of Lord Shiva. At Kailasa, Brihu found Lord Shiva spending his time pleasantly with Parvati and not noticing his presence. Parvati drew the attention of Shiva to the presence of the sage. Lord Shiva was furious at Brihu's intrusion and tried to destroy him. The sage cursed Lord Shiva and left for Vaikuntham. At Vaikuntham, Lord Vishnu, also called Sriman Narayana, was reposing on Adisesha with Sri Mahalakshmi in service at his feet. Finding that Sriman Narayana also did not notice him, the sage was infuriated and he kicked the Lord on his chest, the place where Mahalakshmi resides. At once, Lord Vishnu hastened to apologize to the angry sage and pressed his feet to allay the pain caused to Brihu's leg. In doing so, the Lord removed the eye in the foot of the sage, which gave Brihu power as to defy the Devas. Thereupon, the sage decided that Lord Vishnu was the most supreme of the Trimurtis and told the rishis the same. Thereupon, they decided that Lord Vishnu was the fruit of the yaga. Sri Mahalakshmi was angered by the action of her Lord in apologizing to Brihu, who committed an offense. She therefore left Vaikuntham without heeding the entreaties of the Lord. At the commencement of the current Shweta Varaha Kalpa, the whole universe was filled with water and earth was immersed in it. Lord Vishnu assumed the form of a white boar, Sri Varaha, and dived into the water to lift the earth. He slew the demon Hiranyaksha, who was obstructing him, and rescued the earth. Brahma and other devas praised Sri Varaha for saving the earth by chanting the Vedas and showering flowers on him. Now, Lord Vishnu decided to stay on earth in the form of Sri Varaha for some time to punish the wicked and protect the virtuous. The place then came to be known as Varaha Kshetra, and the Varaha Kalpa commenced. After the departure of Mahalakshmi, a forlorn Lord Vishnu left Vaikuntham and took abode in an ant hill under a tamarind tree beside Pushkarini on the Venkata hill. Taking pity on Lord Vishnu, Brahma and Maheshwara decided to assume the form of a cow and its calf to serve him. Surya, the sun god, informed Mahalakshmi of this and requested her to assume the form of a cowherdess and sell the cow and calf to the king of the Chola country. The king of the Chola country brought the cow and its calf and sent to graze on the Venkata hill along with his herd of cattle. Discovering Lord Vishnu on the anthill, the cow provided its milk and thus fed the Lord. Meanwhile, at the palace, the cow was not yielding any milk, for which Chola queen chastised the cowherd severely. To find out the cause of lack of milk, the cowherd followed the cow, hid himself behind a bush, and discovered the cow emptying her udder over the anthill. Incensed over the conduct of the cow, the cowherd aimed a blow with his axe on the head of the cow. However, Lord Vishnu rose from the anthill to receive the blow and save the cow. When the cowherd saw the Lord bleed at the blow of his axe, he fell down and died at shock. On the death of the cowherd, the cow returned bellowing in fright and with blood stains all over her body to the Chola king. To find out the cause of cow's terror, the king followed her to the scene of the incident. The king found the cowherd lying dead on the ground near the anthill. While he stood wondering how it happened, Lord Vishnu rose from the anthill and cursed the king, saying that he would become an asura because of the fault of his servant. The king pleaded innocence, and the Lord blessed him by saying that the curse would end when the Lord was adorned with the freedom presented by Akash Raja at the time of his marriage with Sri Padmavati. Therefore, Lord Vishnu or Srinivasa decided to stay in Varaha Kshetra and requested Sri Varahaswami to grant him a site for his stay. His request being readily granted, Srinivasa obtained that a pilgrimage to his shrine would not be complete unless it is preceded by a bath in Pushkarani and darshan of Sri Varahaswami, and that puja and naivedyam should be offered to Sri Varahaswami first. Yashoda, brought up by Sri Krishna, the son of Devaki, in his early years. Yashoda was not blessed with witness the marriage of Sri Krishna with Rukmini, and she felt very sad. Sri Krishna promised to fulfill her desire in her next birth as Vakula Devi, in his next avatar as Srinivasa. Some time later, a king named Akasa Raja, who belonged to the lunar race, was ruling the Donda Mandalam. He had a brother named Tondaman. Akash Raja had no heirs, and therefore he wanted to perform a sacrifice. As part of the sacrifice, he was ploughing the field when his plough turned up a lotus in the ground. On examining the lotus, the king found a female child in it. Akash Raja was happy to find the child. He carried it to his palace and gave it to his queen. At that time, he heard a voice from above which said, "O king, tend to it as your child, and fortune will befall you." As the child was found in a lotus, the king named her Padmavati. In course of time, Princess Padmavati grew up into a beautiful maiden and was attended to by a host of maids. One day, while she was spending her time in a garden picking flowers with her maids, Sage Narada approached her. Assuring her that he was her well-wisher, asked her to show him her palm to read her future. He foretold that she was destined to be the spouse of Lord Vishnu himself. At this time, Lord Srinivasa, who was hunting, chased a wild elephant in the forests surrounding the hills. In the elephant's pursuit, the Lord was led into a garden where Princess Padmavati and her maids were picking flowers. The sight of the elephant frightened the princess and her maids. But the elephant immediately turned around, saluted the Lord, and disappeared into the forest. Lord Srinivasa, who was following on horseback, saw the frightened maidens who accosted him with queries. Lord Srinivasa gave the maids details about his birth and parentage. He in turn inquired after their princess, her birth and parentage. When the maids informed Lord Srinivasa that the princess was Padmavati, foster daughter of Akash Raja, he expressed his interest in her. However, he was repulsed with stones thrown at him by the maids. He returned to the hills in haste, leaving his horse behind. When Lord Srinivasa returned, Vakula Devi brought him his usual dinner comprising various delicacies. However, she found him lying on his bed, pinning for his love. When she inquired about the cause, the Lord informed her that unless he marries Princess Padmavati, he would never be well again. Vakula Devi then asked him to tell her all about the princess. The Lord then narrated the story of her previous birth and his promise to wed her. In olden times, Lakshmi, in the form of Vedavati, was staying in the ashrams in the forest. At that time, Ravana, the lord of Lanka, tried to tempt her. In anger, Vedavati cursed him, saying that she would bring about his death. To show how true her words were, Vedavati walked into the fire, but Agni, the fire god, rescued her. He took Vedavati to his house and entrusted her to his wife's care. When Ravana was about to carry away Sita from Panchavati, in the absence of Rama and Lakshmana, Agni appeared and offered Vedavati to Ravana as the real Sita, who was kept with him by Rama to evade Ravana. Ravana was tricking into thinking that Vedavati was the real Sita. Ravana took Vedavati to Lanka thinking she was the real Sita, while Agni took Sita to his house and asked his wife Swaha Devi to look after her. After the destruction of Ravana, Vedavati entered the fire when rejected by Rama. Then Agni offered the real Sita to Rama. Rama then questioned her as to who the other lady by her side was. Sita informed Rama that the lady was Vedavati, who endured Ravana's torture for 10 months in Lanka for her sake. Sita requested Rama to accept Vedavati also as his spouse. But Rama declined her request, saying that he believed in having only one wife during his lifetime. However, he promised to wed her in her next birth as Padmavati, born as a daughter of Akash Raja, when Rama himself would take the form of Srinivasa. Meanwhile, Akash Raja and his queen, Dharani Devi, were anxious about the health of their daughter Padmavati. They learnt about Padmavati's love for Srinivasa of Venkata Hill. Akash Raja consulted Brihaspati about the propriety of the marriage and was informed that the marriage was in the best interest of both the parties. After the departure of Vakula Devi, Srinivasa could not rest in peace. He doubted if she would succeed in her mission. He therefore assumed the form of a lady fortune teller and entered the streets of the capital telling fortunes. Padmavati's maid saw her and invited her to the presence of their queen. The maidservants informed Queen Dharani Devi that the fortune teller was hesitating to enter the palace without the queen's invitation. The queen came out herself and invited the fortune teller into the palace. The fortune teller was taken to the presence of Princess Padmavati. The fortune teller read the palm of the princess and told the queen about the cause of Padmavati's indisposition. She advised the queen to give Padmavati in marriage to Lord Srinivasa. She also told the queen that a lady would approach her shortly on behalf of Lord Srinivasa to formally request Padmavati's hand in marriage. After the departure of the fortune teller, Vakula Devi arrived at the palace and was taken by the maid servant to the queen. She informed the queen that she had come on behalf of Lord Srinivasa to request the hand of Padmavati in marriage. Having consulted Brihaspati and heard from his queen about the prediction of the fortune teller and the arrival of messenger from Srinivasa, Akash Raja decided to hand his daughter in marriage to Srinivasa. He asked the palace purohits to fix a muhurtam for the marriage. Akash Raja informed his ministers and other officials of his plans. Immediately, a letter was drafted requesting Srinivasa to come and marry the princess. Akash Raja entrusted the delivery of the letter to Sukha Mahamuni. Sukha went to the Venkata Hill with Vakula Devi. He presented the patrika to Lord Srinivasa, who was very happy. The Lord sent his garland for Padmavati through Sukha. Kubera lent money to Lord Srinivasa to meet the expenses of the marriage. Lord Srinivasa, along with his consorts and Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, started the journey to the residence of Akash Raja with his vehicle Garuda. At the palace entrance, Lord Srinivasa was received by Akash Raja with full honors and taken in procession of a mounted elephant to the palace for the marriage. In the presence of all Devas, Lord Srinivasa wed Princess Padmavati, thus blessing Akash Raja. We all pray to Baba that our prayers relating to the marriage for whom we are praying should be listened by him and should be blessed at the earliest. We also should pray Baba for asking him to bless us to cure all the problems and issues we are facing after our marriage also. Jai Saurabh.